Hey everybody, it's Alan Brochstein coming to you from Houston to talk about cannabis stocks. And they actually did a little bit better than the S&P 500. But I always tell my subscribers at 420 Investor to pay attention to the Russell 2000 small cap index when thinking about the market for cannabis stocks. The Russell 2000 has been doing terribly for a long time. This represents common stocks, and whereas the S&P 500 really represents just a handful or two handfuls of companies like Tesla, like Metaverse, not at all related to cannabis. So this week, the cannabis market, which I'll talk about in a moment, did a little bit better than the S&P 500, but that was mainly because the Russell 2000 exploded. So in terms of cannabis news this week, there really wasn't much. Michigan did report its October sales. So we have two states now that have reported, both Illinois, that I talked about last week, and now Michigan. And Michigan sales slid 4.3% sequentially in October. That's bad. If you think about it, October has one less day than September. I'm sorry, one more day. It's Saturday morning. One more day, and we fell 4% on a per day basis. We fell more, and it sounds great that the sales were up 25.5% from a year ago to 263 million. But that's the lowest rate of annual growth in more than a year. It's still a good market. It has its issues, but it's pretty big. And I'll leave it at that. I did share a piece on Seeking Alpha where I've written every single week this year. And that piece was on Tilray again. And while I was not right about my title this week, what I said was that sinking Tilray could make new lows. And I still believe that that's true. You can read the article for free at Seeking Alpha. In terms of news this week, on the focus list that I follow, 28 names, maybe going to reduce, or is it 28? 26 names. No, it is 28 names. I forget what it is. I'm thinking about reducing it by 2. I'm not going to tell you which ones, but I tell my subscribers at 420 Investor about the 2 that I'm thinking about pulling off the focus list. But among the companies that I have there now, Air reported, this ended pretty much earnings season this week. There's still a few more companies that are going to report, but for the most part, this was the end. And Air reported revenue and adjusted EBITDA that were below expectations, and the stock got hit quickly, but then it rallied and closed up, and got through where it was before the report. Cannabis reported flat revenue, a little bit below its expectations, or not its expectations, analysts' expectations. And the company also received approval from its board of directors to repurchase 15 million shares. Now, I mean, who knows, right? The first company to do that was Green Thumb, and they did announce that they did buy some shares back. They're underwater on those. The company also introduced some new strains in Florida. CEA, I'm not going to say that's one of the companies I may quit following. Maybe. Their revenue plunged from a year ago and fell sequentially. There are no analysts covering it. They didn't have a call. Boring. All right. CGC, Canopy Growth, moved closer to the sale of BioSteel, a huge mistake that they made buying, and they're trying to get out of it. They got a court motion. They have 2 bidders. They haven't disclosed how much. Cresco had a great week. You can read my write-up that's linked in the summary of this video, and you'll see that I owned this name. I owned a lot. I sold it. Cresco generated more revenue than expected in the third quarter, and its adjusted EBITDA surged. It was a great quarter. Does that mean you should buy it? Obviously, I don't think so. There are better names to own. Lowell, which is a very small company, not widely followed, had weak revenue in Q3, but its adjusted EBITDA loss narrowed. I talk about this one a lot for a good reason. You can ask my subscribers about why I talk about it. Are they doing anything? I have no idea. I don't know what people are doing in cannabis stocks right now. Planet 13 had a big week. First of all, there was some litigation related to Next Green Wave, which they acquired in 2022. I think, maybe it was 2021. They settled this, and they had to issue shares in cash, and I don't think that's a big deal. It wasn't very big. But speaking of cash, they put a press release out yesterday morning that was shocking to me and to many others. And I still don't know this whole story. I don't think it's bad for Planet 13, but I don't own that much Planet 13. I can tell you a lot of reasons not to own it right now, even though I do like it and think it will be higher in the future. They revealed that $5.5 million was mishandled by a publicly traded bank's unit. That publicly traded bank, the symbol is WAL, Western Alliance Bank Shares, I think. And what happened was Planet 13 turned to a company out of California, out of Santa Barbara, California, called El Capitan Advisors. And I have received a lot of outreach from that company at New Cannabis Ventures. They were telling us they needed articles, blah, 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 blah. And I will tell you that the person from there, the CEO who reached out to me, was kind of kissing up to me in a lot of ways. I'm not going to get into that. But we said at New Cannabis Ventures, become an advertiser if you want us to tell your story. And they never did. And I'm glad, because they lost some sort of litigation with a company that used to hire somebody I like, and that person left. And I don't know any of the details about the litigation, but I do know from the press release that Planet 13 lost their money because Western Alliance Bank moved money from the account that was handled by El Capitan Advisors, El Capitan Advisors, to the other company. This all sounds totally illegal, and I don't have the details yet. Okay, SHF Holdings saw its third quarter revenue slip from Q2, and it also announced that it had assisted in a $3 million California real estate lending deal. Tilray expanded its cannabis drink offering in Canada. Yay! Go Tilray! No, I'm just kidding. I don't care for Tilray. And then Verano reported that it opened its 73rd Florida dispensary. And that's really all for the companies that I follow. In terms of performance this week, as I said, the Global Cannabis Stock Index at New Cannabis Ventures rallied 2.7% for the week. And that was more than the 2.2% rally in the S&P 500. All of the rally for the week came yesterday, Friday. And year to date, we're still down more than 20%, while the S&P 500 is up 17.6%, if I'm doing that calculation right. Stunning. After a horrible 2022, it's a horrible 2023, just not as bad. If you want to learn more about how I think about the performance year to date. Tomorrow's newsletter in New Cannabis Ventures deals with 8 stocks that are down 40% or more year to date that are in that index of 28 names. 8 out of the 28. It's an interesting article if you like to bottom fish. And in terms of my model portfolios, I had a good week in my main model portfolio that I've been running for more than a decade, although I did migrate it from bad Zynga. Don't get me started about how bad Zynga is, because I'm afraid they would sue me if I told you how much some things, and they have nothing to do with me. There was some news this week about Benzinga that made them look like the idiots that I think that they are. That model portfolio beat the global cannabis stock index, increased 5.9%, more than double how much the index went up. And I have a whole bunch of trades in there. Believe it or not, I didn't own any Cresco in that model portfolio, so that was not what helped me. You can read the link in the YouTube summary to read more about the trades that I did in that model portfolio and maybe figure out. I don't want to brag about GrowGen, but if you were a subscriber of mine, you should be impressed. Okay, not that I'm perfect about it though. And then the other model portfolio is not doing very well year to date. The beat the American Cannabis Operator Index actually fell 0.4% this week, while the index rallied 4.3%. And year to date, it's down 12%. My beat the global cannabis stock index, I told you that index is down 20.5%, and that model portfolio, that one, it's down more than the beat the American Cannabis Operators Index, but it's down 15.7%. I can't brag about it, but I am happy. I am beating the index, which is what I tell my subscribers I'm going to do. I hope one day that cannabis stocks go on an extended rally and that I can continue to beat, because that's a win-win. Do better than the market when it's rallying, hooray! Do better than when it's falling, So that's this year, a big To beat the American Cannabis Operators Index, as I said, is down 12%, a little bit less. I am very heavy in cash right now. I think the MSOs have run up way too much. And I told you the earnings season's over. That's not exactly true, because on Tuesday, Indiva reports, no, that's not right. I need to update this. That was last week. You'll have to see the piece. I'm going to fix it. There are some things coming out this week. There is an earnings report, but not a big company. And I think the biggest thing to look forward to this coming week, besides the Thanksgiving holiday, is that on Friday, Canada will release its retail sales for the month of September. Yeah. Okay, y'all have a nice week. Take care.